Let's say you are a product leader at Netflix and the focus metric that you're trying to impact is increase watch time, right? Segmentation allows businesses to target specific user groups based on user behavior or demographics. For example, you want to target users who have added items to the cart but didn't purchase, right? Okay, so folks, we've talked about NSM, right? But let's also talk about that one metrics that matters most in a lot of companies, and we can also call that metrics a focus metrics. So basically, this metrics could be your North Star and could not be your North Star. For example, many company keeps the focus at reducing the cost, while it might not be the NSM. So your focus metrics can also depend on the stage of the product growth life cycle your product at. For example, you are at 0 to 1, right? At that point in the and then the growth life cycle, you might want to identify or look for product market fit, or you want to get more users. You would want to drive more activations towards your product, right? So it depends on in which stage of the life cycle your product is. If you are in, let's say, growth stage, right? So if you're into growth stage, then you might want to optimize on number of orders or increasing revenue. If you're in a maturity stage, you might want to work on guys, I think there's a lot of people joining now. Let me open the session, otherwise there'll be a little bit of a disturbance continuously. Okay, now I think we should be good. Okay, I'll just quickly summarize, folks. Okay, at the 0 to 1 stage, right, the companies might be focusing, at increasing the number of users, or they might be looking for early PMF, right? And at growth stage, they might be focusing on increasing revenue, or if you're talking about products like Netflix, they might want to optimize on increasing the watch time, right? And if you want to another further look into the maturity stage, right, at that time, companies want to optimize on a lot of systems that they have placed over the years, and they would also might want to reduce the cost as well, right? And if the company is in that decline stage, right, they might want to acquire new products, right, or they might want to rediscover, how their user segments needs or use cases are changing, right, so that they can stay relevant. Otherwise, there are a lot of products which keeps retiring I would say every week, month. Right? In fact, if you go on Google, you would see that Google has a website called Google Graveyard, right? So they keep on doing a lot of experimentations, and all the failed products they keep on mentioning there. So it's not like even the great companies do have failed products, and that's something which evolves with time. Once you do a lot of iterations and a lot of things that you might not have figured out in your research, you figure out when you go in the market, right? Now let's do quick exercise, because exercise, in fact, before talking about the exercise, I'll just also try to connect focus metric with the lagging metrics and also the leading metrics, right? Lagging metric is something we can also call it as an output metric. So focus metric is generally an output metrics, which tells you about what happened, and it doesn't tell you about why it happened. By the time outputs change, or this metrics change, it's too late to find the root cause and course correct. The reason being they're too broad and non-actionable. For example, in case of this Netflix, right? And if your average watch time or total watch time has decreased, this is just an information that you're carrying, right? You can't do anything with this specific metrics, right? So it is very important in any company or ecosystem to focus on input metrics, right? Since they're controllable and provide actionable insights. How would you be able to connect with output and input matrices? I'm sure everyone would be knowing that formula of algebra, wherein y equals to mx plus c, or you can have m1x1 plus m2x2 plus c, right? So y is something which is a output metrics or a focus metrics, or you can call it as a sometime NSM as well. You can also call it as a sometime lagging metrics as well, right? But the further components that PMs drive, which Ketan mentioned, is input matrices, which are controllable, which you can on a regular basis keep making changes or keep doing experimentations to move certain needles, right? Now let's do a quick exercise. Let me open up Whimsical, and let's try to break down a focus metric into the input matrices, right? And these input matrices could further be broken down into the L1 matrices or L2 matrices, right? Let me open up my Whimsical. Folks, just give me 1 minute. I think 10 seconds should be good. I'm just signing up on Whimsical. I'll share my screen. Okay. I think I already have it opened. So I'll just not share everything. I'll just probably try to highlight this part, right? Okay. So let me share the screen, right? Okay, folks, let's do a quick case. Let's say you are a product leader at Netflix, right? And the focus metric that you're trying to impact is increase watch time, right? So now I just want you folks to break down, like if you want to increase watch time, what all sub matrices or sub components you'd focus on. Do you want to write it down in the chat? If you want to increase watch time, which all sub matrices you would focus on? You want to write it in the chat? Okay, take some time, like 10 seconds would be good. Some of the cohort members might have seen this exercise already. We keep on doing these in our regular cohort sessions. Regional content, okay. Many of you are already okay. Prince is saying DAU, quite interesting. Personalized recommendations, number of sessions, okay. What I could see that many of you are trying to jump into L2 or L3 matrices. Average session time, average watch time, DAU, okay. I'm just looking for the right answer. Okay, think more, folks. It's not that difficult. If you want to break down average watch time and want to look into the input matrices, how would you go about it? Video buffer time, yes, that is something which would make sense. Sorry, folks, I've got some cold as well here. Okay, video buffer time. Okay, folks, think more. How would you further break it down? Okay, do you want me to show quick thumbs up if you want me to tell you how to go about it? Okay, all right. Let me share the further leg of. See, if you want to increase average watch time, right? First two matrices that you would want to focus on in terms of input matrices is number of users and average watch time per user, right? If you see the total watch time, you can have it as total watch time equals to number of users and into average watch time per user, right? So you'd want to increase, or you want to focus on these two input matrices, and if you basically focus on these matrices, then there are chances that you would be able to finally impact the total watch time, or you'll be able to increase it or decrease it if your efforts go in the wrong direction, right? So now further, this is something which you can call it as L1 metrics of the overall if you're trying to bifurcate input matrices further into L1, L2, L3 matrices, right? But at a lot of points, even this could be a output matrix, or you can say that second output matrix. So you'd have to further break it down. L1 matrix can also have L2 or L3, right? So you keep on breaking that specific matrix until you move to a stage wherein you have that actionable item, right? And then you try to drive it and then see that whether you're able to move the funnel, or you're able to make the impact or the changes towards the top of the funnel that you're trying to impact, right? So if you talk about the number of users, right? So you could have two type of users. One are first type of users are new users, and second are existing users, right? New users you can get either by running a lot of acquisition campaigns in the existing market. If you are matured in the existing market, then you can think of going to the new markets, like just the way Netflix has come from US to India, right? And within India, Netflix has first got to a decent user base in tier 1 and metro cities. Now it is trying to go into tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities, right? So that's how it's just trying to acquire the new users. Second is like, you can focus on existing users, right? If you would, of course, you've already invested a decent amount of money to acquire them, which is something called as customer acquisition cost, CAC, right? And you don't want these users to keep going out from your platform, wherein every time you're trying to do something, you'd have to put a lot of into investing money, right? So that is why you can focus on reducing the churn. If you are able to hold on to your existing users for a longer term, you'd be able to move the metrics of number of users, right? So if your number of users would also move, then overall you'll be also able to move the watch time, right? One of the metrics which creates impact. This could further be broken down. That's how you create sub strategies, strategical pointers, right? Churn also is further bifurcated into different types. I'm not going into much depth of this right now, because of course, with the interest of time, plus, and there's a lot more of depth we cover in the cohort sessions, wherein we also help you understand growth matrices across growth life cycle, like acquisition, awareness, engagement, onboarding, activation, retention. A lot of these things are there, right? Now let's look into the second metrics, right? You'd also want to improve the average watch time per user, right? Before average watch time, you can also think of one more time, which is average session time, right? So average session time has two components. The first component is you can call it the first component as like the discovery time, right? So once you open the platform, you spend some time in figuring out what you want to watch. Second is like the watch time, right? So you definitely want to improve this watch time, not the session time overall. Of course, you want to increase the session time, but not at the cost of watch time. But you don't have to increase the average discovery time, right? So if you want to increase average watch time per users, then you further focus on, okay, improve product discovery, or do a give them a better recommendation, or bring fresh content, right? So anything related to content or your core value proposition is something which comes here, right? So this is something I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview. How do you break out lagging matrices to leading matrices, or output to input matrices? Your NSM is something which is looked at by the top leadership, right? PMs don't look at a daily basis. They look at these input matrices, which they would be, which they're, in fact, the core job is to, keep moving them, right? Now, I have two options right now, folks. I have one more exercise for all of you to help you understand how to come up with matrices, right? Now, you tell me, you want me to basically cover that specific part as well, or you won't want me to quickly jump to the Clevertap demo, and then I'll take 5 minutes of commercial break as well. So you would want to do another practice in terms of, in this practice, I'll try to figure out and help you understand how PMs come up with those 100 or 1,000 matrices that they see on the board. Up to you. I'm waiting for the answers in the chat. I'm quickly grabbing a sip of water. Okay, 4-5 responses won't work. I think I'll move to what was planned. Anyway, this was not planned. I'm just trying to give you guys additional value. And just because you've been here for using data analysis tool, for sure we're going to do, Harshita. That is something, anyway, we have promised, so definitely we're going to do that, right? Awesome. Now let's do an exercise. I think everyone wants to do an exercise. So, okay. Okay, so I won't cover this exercise, folks, too in depth, right? But I'll cover it to a level that you understand how PMs come up with these matrices, right? They might look very fancy, okay, product viewed or add to cart, people converting from one screen to another screen, right? For the folks who knows how these matrices work, right? It's quite easy for them to understand, right? But for the folks who are not that well familiar with how matrices work, it might be a little difficult to get comfortable with matrices, right? So I'm not going to cover the entire funnel of this specific user journey. I'm just going to cover one or two elements or part of the funnel, so that you understand and get the gist of it, and then we move further to the session plan. All right, cool. So let's say you are a PM at Myntra, and your job is like to develop a metrics dashboard around core user journey. What I meant by core user journey is like, you're talking about the users who are going on the platform to purchase something, right? On the other hand, other journeys could be the users just going on the platform to raise a ticket, or to probably try a Lux feature and all, right? So we're trying to focus on the core product or a core feature that Myntra has, which allows users to make some purchases, right? So let's do that exercise. I'm not going to do it. I'll just guide you in a way that you will be able to do it, and you'll be much more comfortable in terms of getting a hold on the matrices, right? So, folks, write in the chat, when you open the homepage of Myntra or any e-commerce application, right? You see this banner, right, or this page, right, which has multiple components. If you see, there's a search bar, right, which helps you directly go towards the specific requirement that you have. Further, you would see these are the category banners, and then you would see these recommendations, and they are generally comes in the form of the matrices. So, okay, these are different metrics. This is basically a carousel or a 1x1 matrix. This is something which is called as 1x2 matrix, right? So you would have, and this is something we can call it as 5x1 or 4x1, which is scrollable towards the right depth, right? So this is basically, which comes as part of the recommendation, and these are personalized recommendations, which would be different for you, for your sister, for your friends, right? Depending on your search history or what you've purchased, or your new user, right? So depending on, and of course, which location you're from, right? So there are a lot of factors on which it depends how do the personalization works, and we're not going to deep into that right now. But let's talk about as a user, what all actions you do on this page once you land onto this. So write that in the chat. What all actions you do on this homepage when you land onto this? Write in the chat. Okay, you search, you browse, All right. What else do you do? Okay, everyone do the search. You don't look at the yeah. You can of course look at the bags. You can look at the wish list, right? And you can look at the notification. You can look at Myntra's other offerings as well, right? And you can also spend some time on this page and look at what other this page has to offer. You can also look at their loyalty program as well, right? There are a lot of things you can look into, right? And for everything that the user wants to go deeper into, they have to click on it, right? And that click is something that we are calling it as action, right? Awesome. So see, I have not written down all the inputs that the user is doing, otherwise this slides would have been very long, right? But the idea is to just to convey the concept. Okay, so users are generally, let's say, doing two major actions: browse personalized recommendations and use a search bar, right? So you just have to, as a product manager, find a way to capture these events, right? And let's say on personalized recommendation, which means PR, what do you capture, right? So let's say users coming here, users would click on it, right? So you'll measure that, like click through rate on recommendations. So basically, a number of users landed onto this page, how many of them have clicked on these banners or cards, right? You can also measure the average session engagement rate. Let's say 100 users have come on this page, how many of them have spent 2 minutes on the homepage, or they've spent 5 minutes on the homepage, right? And you'd want to reduce their time spent on the homepage so that you can quickly move them towards the items that they're looking for, or for the specific purpose they are on the platform. In terms of the search, right, what user is doing, user is typing something here and then landing somewhere, right? So then you would what you would measure here: percentage of search result clicks, right? Or search abandonment rate, which means like you've clicked on the search but have not spent enough time on the next page, which is something you can call as product listing page, which we call it as PLP. Amazon also calls it as search result page, because you are landing to this page by performing certain search, right? So this is something I wanted to cover. I'm not going into deep in the further funnel. In a similar way, see, if you're on this page, right, which is called as product listing page, what all actions you do, right? You spend time in browsing through the list that the company has shared, right? And you're spending time here on this page, and you're looking at number of items or the SKUs shown, right? You can also measure that. All right, and after this, you can also go to the product detail page, right? And if you're going to the product detail page, it gives a very high high intent to the product manager that, okay, this is the user which would have a higher propensity to buy, right? For these users, they might curate some specific offers so that the purchase could happen within that specific session, right? So this is how generally you measure matrices, wherein you simply list down all the actions that the users are doing on these screens. Oh, sorry, we have never used Myntra. All right, that's just scary. It's been in the market, I think, almost for 10 years. All right, so what do you generally do? You figure out all the actions that the users can do on this page, right? And as a product manager, yeah, I've stopped sharing for the moment, and I'll just quickly summarize, and then we'll move to the commercial break, and then we'll go to the Clevertap demo, right? All right. So as a product manager, you don't own the entire funnel, right? You don't own from homepage till the checkout, right? It's a huge work. No one can do it alone, right? Of course, at a product leader level, they might be owning a specific function or multiple charters, right? So you might be, let's say, the in charge of product discovery, or you might be probably your goal would be to improve post order experience, or you'd want to increase number of conversions, right? So at a product manager level, you would be handling one specific charter only, right? And your goal would be then to measure those charters, right? Palak, you have a question? Okay, you've typed my name. All right, awesome, cool, folks. I think this was about the this case study. I just wanted to quickly give you guys a flavor of, okay, how we do it extensively in our cohort programs as well, right? Now I'll take 5 minutes of your time to, because many of you.
Akhil, can you go to the second last slide?
Second last slide.
Before journey PDP.
Before journey PDP, PLP you want? Are you taking a screenshot?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to ask, like.
Okay. This one?
Yeah, can you explain this a little more? Because I was
Okay,
not
sure,
able to understand.
Definitely. Okay, let me give it a shot. Okay, so when you're on this page, right, what all actions you would do. Of course, you can again go back to search and go back to the previous funnel, right? Or you can click on the wish list, right? So on this page, what all actions you can do? You can measure number of clicks happening on the
Mhm.
wish list on PLP. So you'll try to measure PLP to wish list conversion, or
What
number
is
of people moving.
PLP?
PLP is a product listing page. So this page is
Oh,
something which is
product
called as
listing.
PLP. This is a e-commerce terminology. I'm sorry, I should have explained it. And PDP is a
Okay.
product detail page, right? So you'll see. So whenever you're searching something or clicking on the recommendations, you'll see all the SKUs that the company has to offer listed in a certain view. That is something we're calling it as product listing page. Okay. So what a user is doing here, right? They're either scrolling through the listings to see what all other options Myntra has offered, right? Or they're clicking on a product, right? So how will you measure it? If you're scrolling through the listings, so what do you have to measure? Number of products viewed in the listing. Let's say you've scrolled for 10 pages, right?
Mhm.
And 10 pages
Mhm.
might show you 4 products, because one page can cover four products, right? So you can also measure in one session of PLP how many number of products users are viewing in at once, right? And you can also measure the time spent on the page, because that is something you can also always measure on all the pages, right? And then you can measure CTR, which means like if you liked anything, let's say you like this hoodie from H&M, right? You click on it, right? And then you go to the PDP, which is like you go to a more detailed view of that product. And so, but you measure here the CTR on product cards, right? So does that make sense?
Yes.
Uh, Sapna, yeah.
CTR is call to reaction or what?
To
Call to reach.
click-through rate. It's click-through rate. You're
Click
clicking
through
on
it.
it,
Okay.
right? And then you're moving to the different page. Yeah.
Thanks, Akhil.
SRP is search result page, Bhavna. So Amazon generally calls PLP as SRP as well, but SRP and PLP could be differentiated, because PLP could be okay. Let me give you go to Whimsical and then share it to you. Otherwise, you might get confused. Okay. Okay. Let me create a board here. Okay. So PLP is basically product listing page, and there's another version of this which is being called as search result page, right? It's being called as search result page. All right. So search result, once again, let me also create one more card to explain it to you better. Okay, now I'll connect it to this. Okay, only from search. Okay, so when user is coming to on a page wherein they can see all the products listed, right? And if you're calling it a SRP, which means it's a search result page, which means that page has come because the user has made a search intent or a search query, right? And
Yeah.
this page interchangeably can also be called as SRP, which means like because on PLP, ideally, on both the pages you're just seeing the listings, right? On PLP, you can also come by clicking on a banner or a recommendation, right? You can't call banner click through listing page as SRP, because it was not a search, it was a recommendation, right? Makes sense. So these are interchangeably used terminologies. Don't get confused. Search result, which means that the user is coming via search query, uh, and PLP is something which is coming from a banner or search, both, right? It covers both, but SRP is something which only covers the users coming to that page via search. These are more of e-commerce terminology. It doesn't impact much of your understanding if the concept is clear. Make sense?
Thanks.
All right, cool, folks. So, folks, now we have understood different type of matrices, what role they play, how to break out North Star metrics or focus metrics into lagging, leading, all those things we've understood. We've talked a lot about metrics, right? But how do you measure these metrics, or how do you capture these metrics? From where the data points come in, right? So that is something we're going to learn in today's session, right? And folks, before starting the session, let me give you a little bit of a fundamental knowledge about all the analytic platforms, right? So all the analytics platforms are built on two data layers, right? First layer is user layer, which helps you understand who the users are. It also helps you understand more about the users. For example, which city they are from, which language they speak, or what their genders are, right? Or if you're capturing any other attributes as well. I'll quickly summarize again. All the analytical products operate on two primary data layers. First is user profile layer, which is to know about who the user is, like which location they're from, language they speak, gender, and other attributes if you're capturing them. Don't worry if you're confused about the terminology. I'm going to show everything in the tool, right? Second is like you might be thinking, okay, what is the user profile layer, right? First, it helps you in targeting. Let me give you an example, you'll better understand, right? Let's say if you know that, okay, you have X percentage of users who's good in speaking English, Y percentage of users who are speaking good in Kannada or Tamil or Punjabi or French or XYZ different language, right? So if you know that, right, and if you have that type of regional content or a local content for them, right, when you're running these marketing campaigns, you can select that attribute in your analytics or a marketing tool so that that specific campaign only gets directed to that, right? Second, I told you we also capturing in terms of the user profile, the location of the user. Now let me tell you how location helps. Of course, it might not be helping in all the use cases. We have to see at a product to product level, but just to help you understand how these user profile layer attributes or properties can help you, drive more insights or more outcome from your existing customers, right? Let's say you're an e-commerce supply chain product manager, and you know that in your north zone, you have additional inventory which was pending to be sold, right? Now you want to reach out to all the users who are residing in the north zone, and you would want to run some exclusive offers only to those users so that you can sell more, so that you can reduce your inventory, right? So yeah, I've told you basically two use case. One is about language, one about location. Another could be, let's say some companies, they must be doing a birthday promotional discounts, I'm sure, right? So if a lot of companies also capture your birth date as a user attribute as well, right? So if they have that data, they can give you some exclusive discounts or profiles. I think lifestyle, as a marketplace for offline commerce also offers it. If you're purchasing, or in fact website as well, if you're purchasing something on your birthday, it'll give you some exclusive 10 or 20% discount. I don't know exactly, I've just heard from somewhere, right? So this was about the first data layer. Now the second layer is event layer, which captures the actions performed by the users, such as app launches or product views, right? So for example, let's say you have clicked on certain banner, right? So that's the action that you're doing on the product, right? So the moment that you're doing an action, it is being captured, and the method which is used to capture these actions are something which is called as events, right? So events can be captured by, sorry, every action can be captured by creating an event. All right, making sense? I'll quickly repeat what event layer is. Event layer helps in capturing the actions performed by the users. For example, user is opening the app, spending time, clicking somewhere, purchasing something, raising a query, raising a complaint, giving NPS survey, looking at marketing messages, communication site. So all the actions that the user is doing on the platform is something you can capture with the help of these analytic tools. And within the analytics tools, event is a layer that is going to help you do that, right? Now, in this session, we're going to talk about Clevertap, right? Clevertap is an analytics and engagement tool that helps businesses understand user behavior and also provides the channels to engage users effectively, right? Now, allow me a moment to share my screen wherein I can quickly look into, I can open my Clevertap tool demo, right? Give me 1 second. I might have to log in and all, so I'm just seeing how can I open it. I'll take the questions in the end, folks, because we have to also wrap up by 2, right? So give me 1 second. Let me do the sign in again. And okay, just 1 second, folks. I'm just setting up the platform, right? Might take 10 seconds, 20 seconds, right? Because it gets logged out because it's about data, right? I was already keeping it live. Okay, I've got my mail ID. Okay. And okay. And just forward hash. Okay, now I think I'm in. All right, very interesting. Very interesting. I'm in. Okay, now I don't need another dashboard. That's good. All right. Okay, I'm good. Right. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen now. But before that, I need to open the demo account. Okay, now I can share my screen. Sorry, folks, like from a company data perspective and all, I couldn't continue sharing my entire details and all, right? Yeah, so just I'm going to give you a walkthrough of an e-commerce scenario wherein we're going to talk about a lot of matrices which Ketan has mentioned, and we've also created ourselves when we're going doing that Myntra case, right? Awesome. So this is your board section wherein you'll see the snapshot, right? And this is a board and which tells you about your active users. An active user is something which is a metrics or which is an event in Clevertap, and you can define your active users, either the users who you kind of launches the application, or you can consider your active users as someone who's making the transaction, right? So you can customize the event. Like, what do you actually mean by active users? By default in analytics platforms, active user is something which is launching the application, right? So yeah, and if you're looking at each of these cards, right, they're respectively comparing it with the previous duration as well. So you're looking at daily active users, so they're telling you daily active users and what was the yesterday's active users, right? Similarly, they're also doing a week back, like the previous week what happened, this week what happened. Monthly active users, this month how many are the users, and what was the users last month, total active users, right? This is something which is an activity stream, which is also telling you the trend of the volume of users in different time frames. So you can basically easily map out in this time frame, which is from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Right, maximum users come on the on your application rate, right? So if you know this time frame, how can you monetize it well, right? One thing you can do, if you're a platform like Amazon wherein you're running the ads, you can increase the price of the ads, saying that okay, this time we have more active users on the platform, that's why I'll try to run the ads in this segment. Of course, India, you can't bring the users, so would generally be a dead segment. But let's say that you want to bring users in this period, right? What you can do, you can give more offers or more hooks for the users to come to your platform, right? So once you know how user behaviors are acting in different time frame, then you can accordingly drive your strategy and make those campaigns and drive those in a way so that you can move the matrices, right? It also tells you, okay, how many are the new users within the specific time frame and how many are the returning users, right, on the platform. Now let me also give you a quick overview of today's snapshot. This is something we have talked about, right? Time screen, I think it also does this when you want to go much more deeper in the specific time frame, right? You can look into, and it is also telling you, okay, what is the number today, what is the number yesterday, what is the week ago. So generally look like a consistent active users, not a major drop, right? All right, now let's look into the new users, and this is also, the dashboard is something also telling you like which all platforms your users are coming from, right? So you'll see that okay, 18% users are coming from web, 29 is coming from Android, and 53 is from iOS. So you can also understand that the larger user base is premium, because iOS as a product is something we are associating with the segment who has a lot of churning income, like every at a regular basis they're kind of getting it, or they would definitely have a lot of money in hand, right? So if you want to curate a different strategy for it, I'm sure many of you might have heard the Uber prices in Android versus iOS are higher, right? If you look at iOS, the prices were higher. If you look at similar cases for Zepto and Ola, they've also done similar practices, right? I'm not claiming they have done, I'm just quoting the incidences because some companies might choose to do it, right? So all right, this is only for everything I'm telling, only for learning purpose, right? Just to be out of the controversies or anything coming out of this, right? Now we can also look at the quick activity stream, right? So this stream is basically capturing all the events that your users are doing, and it is also telling you, okay, how many users have been adding items to the cart today, right? So it'll tell you all the events today's activity chart or a quick snapshot, right? Almost 3,000 users added to the cart today. Yesterday, 6,000 added, right? Today is yet to be ended, so we are good, right? And you can similarly look at other events, and it is also comparing it with a week ago, right? Now let's go into a charged event, right? Charged event is something which is being captured when a user is making a purchase, right? So in Clevertap, that event is something which is named as charged. Charged means transaction is successful, right? Now if you go into this, if you look into this is basically giving a more overview about the trend about, okay, on March 7 how many people have purchased, right? You can say that okay, you had 2,500 orders on March 7. You can say that similar order trend is being followed on days. You can also drag and drop. You can also do that. You can also see the more closer trend, right? You can see, oh, there's a drop. Earlier it was 2657. Why? Sometimes you might, based on my e-commerce experience, the purchase pattern on weekdays and weekends and also specific peak time of the day also varies, right? So you need to know, you can't keep on optimizing in all the times, right? You need to know whether that time frame has the potential to optimize or not. For example, in Bangalore, during office going times and coming from office time, if the people are coming from their own vehicles when they are driving, you can't optimize for that time because they can't leave driving and continue using. So you have to be conscious of how you're optimizing, and that is where your product thinking would come in place, when you do a lot of case studies and understand how other PMs in the different companies have implemented these concepts. You'll be able to do it really well, right? Now I'll talk about event property in a moment, then I'll also come back to this slide. Right now, let's look at a little bit more into this. Okay, where is it? Where am I? Okay, now let me click on some people who have charged, right? So I'm going to one specific user profile. Okay, now hear me very carefully, folks. Okay, all right. So this, okay, see, in the apps or products or website where these analytics tools are integrated, right? So every time a user is opening the app, or the first time when they're opening the app, a Clevertap ID is created, or a respective, of course, other platform. I'm not sure how they're operating, but generally a similar concepts are being followed, right? A Clevertap ID is created. For example, if let's say Naman has opened Flipkart from iPhone, right? This is a one Clevertap ID would be created. If Naman has also opened it from Android phone, the second Clevertap ID would be created, right? So Clevertap ID is something which is device identifier. It captures the user's action until unless the user is not identified, right? So you'll see that for one user, you can have multiple IDs, right? But there is a common identifier that you as a product manager can pass, which would help you consolidate all the user actions across the platform, right? So it will help you see, okay, how Aman's overall purchasing behavior is, right? And these are something which is called as user properties, right? Which is the user details. You can look at this, right? Age is 30 years, birthday is this, customer type, customer ID, English. These are something which is being called as user properties. Okay, user properties can be of 256 types. You can add as many user properties depending on how much data user is providing you or you are capturing at the time of onboarding, right? So user properties is very clear. I don't think there should be any issues, right? So user property is just to know more about the user. Similarly, now let's look into the activity stream. Okay, now if you have added the ID to consolidate the profiles across the platforms, then this platform also tells you, okay, this Ruby as a user is also using this product from Chrome, and also tells you other platforms as well. I think for this user, it hasn't, it's only on one platform, right? But it also tells you further, okay, they've also logged in from desktop, also logged in from phone, right? So all those things I'll be doing, right? Now let's look at quickly activity stream. So activity stream. So this stream basically tells the left side one, right? The entire life cycle use case of the user, right? So let's say this user has been on the platform for only 2 days, right? But if the user has been on the platform for 2 years, it'll tell you how many times they've purchased in 2 years, how many times, what all they have done. You can also filter the events, right? You can also see what they have done on a daily basis. You can see, okay, today they have viewed the category, today they have searched, product viewed, finally added to the cart, and then charged, and then finally they've concluded the session, right? So similar to user properties, which helps you know more about the users, you also have event properties. Event properties are also of 256 types. Types as in you can have 256 event properties, right? Event properties helps you know more about the events, right? For example, a user has viewed the product, which product they have viewed, right? They've viewed category, sorry, which category of products they've viewed, what was the product name, right? What was the location, from, I think it's session ID. You can of course customize these variables. What is the price of the item, right? You can also look in, okay, if user has added the items to the cart, what was the item name, right? What was the category it was belonging, which channel they have come from, what was the quantity, I think this quantity, right? This is a brand, which brand the item was from, right? Session ID as a Clevertap session ID, and this is what is the price of the item, right? So this is how these tools basically helps you measure to the depth at which you can measure user actions. Now I was telling you, I'll tell you something more as well. So I'll go back to that slide. Yeah, I was here, right? No, not here. I guess here I'm not seeing that. Okay, quick view. Go here. Okay, not here. Trends and properties, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So see, as I told you, right? every event has event properties. This is a charged event, right? Which means the transaction has happened, right? Now we can also see when people are purchasing, what are the top 10 products that they're purchasing most, or which are the products they're purchasing most from which brand or which category, right? Let's see if it is capturing the category basis data, right? So it does analysis and it tells you that, okay, the maximum events are, whenever they're happening, they definitely have at least one shoes component or shoes item in it, right? And people also look for cookware, they also look for sunwear, right? You can also look for your top selling products as well, right? You can look at, okay, Adidas, this shoe was top selling, right? It also tells you a lot of insights about the specific event properties if you want to capture them, right? So this was a little bit about the events. Now I'll take a 1 minute break. If you have any questions, then I'll talk to you, tell you about the segmentation, which is very, very critical and important. All right, any questions from anyone? I'll quickly grab water. And in the meantime, whoever is have some other engagements, I'm also sharing a feedback form in the chat wherein you can drop your feedback. Whoever is sharing the feedback, they'll get the certification and additional analytics resources from product space, right? So please, humble request to please share the feedback so that we can also keep bringing such more sessions for you guys. And also, guys, any questions so far? Is have free tier. Then I'm not sure. I think Amplitude has. Clevertap is strictly B2B, but it handles largely the similar use cases. Should these be configured by PM itself? No. Configuration, see, there are two types of events. One is a default event and another is a custom event, right? So default events are something which comes by default as part of the category or industry you're belonging to, and then you have to map it to the actions that you're trying to capture, right? If you can also create your custom events, right? For example, let's say that, okay, you want to measure the session duration, right? And Clevertap is not giving you that event, so you can create that event. So the tool provides you functionality to create custom events as well, but this is something has to be done by the developer, and with the help of Clevertap team, they would have an extensive documentation which helps with that. Does it have?
Can we do a
Yeah.
hands-on?
Tanmay, go ahead.
Do we have free tier for this?
Free tier, I'm not sure, because I have not dealt into doing the purchase with the Clevertap. There was an accounts team who's handling into it, right? But I think, as I answered, I believe, I think Amplitude has a free tier, right? So I think at product space we also integrated Amplitude as a tool.
Mixpanel also have it, right?
Yeah, might have added. I'm not sure. They could have it. I think a lot of platform has it, wherein they this is more of a freemium strategy, as in come to the platform, see the offerings, right? Clevertap in general might be following a different strategy, wherein they're too focused on B2B, or they're not worried about more free users. They're more worried about direct paying clients, right? So it depends on strategy at a company to company level. Tanmay. Yeah, awesome. Yes, Rakesh. No, Rakesh, your question was like the engineers would do it. Anindo is asking, okay, I've got one more DM about the pricing. Guys, I'm again sharing that link in the chat. After the session, I'll cover any questions if you have any about PM fellowship. Okay. Anindo is saying, does it have user flow heat map to analyze? I think it has. Heat map I've not used. I think they might have the functionality, but I've used RFM analysis and all, right? So I can show you that, right? Now let's quickly go into the segmentation. Okay, before going into the segmentation, I'll quickly cover, probably give you 1 or 2 line definition of what I think segmentation is. So folks, okay, let me also share the slides if I have for segmentation. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, so segmentation allows businesses to target specific user groups based on user behavior or demographics, right? For example, you want to target users who have added items to the cart but didn't purchase, right? Or you want to capture users who has done a specific action within a specific time frame, right? Let's say you have certain users who are from let's say Mumbai, who have just visited the product but haven't purchased it. So you can also do that level customization, and we'll go into we'll go into the tool and see how can we do it, right? Instead of just talking about it, right? Okay, it's now action time, folks. You have to go into the segments. I'll also create funnel. I think, does it have option to create a funnel? No, it doesn't have. Oh no, this should not be true. I might have to go into analytics for funnel, I believe. 1 second. Yes, it is here. Okay, let's go to segment, right? Let's learn a couple of segmentation. How do we do it, right? And then I'll have a couple of cases as well. We have 10 minutes, so we won't go in much more depth, right? We'll cover only the user segmentation, and we'll cover. Okay, so I had a lot more things planned, right? But in the interest of time, and it's almost touching 3 hours as well, right? Folks who are the cohort members, we'll cover the extensive version of it when we plan exclusive session for this. But for the time being, I'll just cover events and the user segmentation for 2-3 use cases, and then we'll walk you through the communication channel, how communication happens in Clevertap, right? All right. Now let me tell you, if you want to find people, okay, let's say by behavior, right? When if we do this, right? So what does this tell us? Users who did charged, which means like paid, right? Or have transacted, right? So we can quickly see that. Okay, in last 30 days, how many users have transacted on the platform? 52,000 users, right? Now you want to capture, I want to see, okay, how many users have purchased shoes, right? So I can go into event category, and then you can go for shoes, hoodies, whatever you want to capture, right? Let's say I go for shoes, right? And so I have 8,000 users, right? Now I want to capture users who have purchased shoes at least 5 times. Of course, I don't think people would purchase shoes 5 times. T-shirts they might have purchased 5 times, right? Shoes I'll remove. T-shirts, right? Okay, now I want to capture users who in the last 30 days have transacted or purchased T-shirts more than 5 times at least, right? So it'll show you how many. Okay, there are no users who have purchased. Let's reduce the frequency. Let's do 2 times. Okay, view details. Okay, there are 123 users who have purchased T-shirt at least more than twice in the last 30 days, right? Now you want to capture. Okay, now let me do one more activity. Let's say you want to capture users who has I think it was amount, if I'm not wrong, who has purchased T-shirts more than 1,000 rupees. Okay, because this is something which will also tell you or give you a little bit understanding about the little more of a premium segment, right? So there are only 45 users, so you don't have a lot more premium users. This is something which insights, which tells you, right? What more I can do here? I'm thinking, okay, now let me reduce this to 100, and now I want to see that. Okay, where did it went? And I want to do this. I want to go for geography. I want to see how many people have done it in India. Let's say, does it have India as a data capture? I think it is not capturing India as a data. Okay, I got it. Let's see, does it have India as a data point or not? Okay, so now let's read it again. Okay, so in the last 30 days, number of users who have transacted shirts wherein the total value of shirt is more than 98 rupees, right? And I think the currency is rupees, for example. Let's assume that, and who are in India, right? So only 235 users from India has purchased it. So if you have any India specific communication, want to give it to the users who have been a paying user, you can do this. You can follow this, right? This is how you can leverage this tool, right? I think I've also have one more tool, one more use case which is quite important. Many of you might have seen that you add items to the cart, but you abandon it, right? So let's see, how do we capture that? Okay, now let me close everything. Also close this. Okay, abandoning means what? They have added the items to the cart, right? So they have added the items to the cart, added to cart, right? But did not purchase in the last 30 days. Okay, so I have now these many users, 36,000 users are there in the last 30 days overall on my product, who has added items to the cart but have not purchased. Now again, I want to see the users who have let's say basically added the items of Nike, right? And have not purchased the item of Nike, right? Contains Nike, right? And let's see, even if there's some data, I don't know. I'm just right. So now this metric is saying that, okay, now we have all the users who have added Nike at least in the cart and have not purchased Nike in the last 30 days, right? So if Nike has to make offer, or there's some brand deal has come, and you can quickly segment and push that brand deal to these users, right? This is how extensively you can use this tool if you're able to break it down really, really well, right? Now I will give you a case to do, right? Think about this. Okay, this is one more case. Okay, similar case. Okay, and there's another case about caselet B. Okay, this 2 cases quickly will do in the interest of time, right? So how would you decide which segment to target? You have this question in the chat. Take 30 seconds time to think and write. Yes, why not, Ananta? For B2B, it doesn't matter if it's B2B or B2C. It's about measuring the actions that the users are doing. If your product has users, which means that you can create events, you can measure it. All right, okay, folks. Okay. Okay, I'm back quickly. Can it send notification to users? Yes, Vana will talk about it. Can for sure do lot many things. Okay, is it 2 times or 2 shirts? 2 shirts. 2 times means what? Like 2 shirts only, right? Count, it is basically measuring the quantity. Okay. People who generally look for offers, age group, Gen Zs, guys. No, you haven't read the case properly, right? See, you have a monthly budget of $10,000, right? In the form of discount vouchers from different brands in the shoe. What you can understand, they are premium brands. Like I've also broken it down here, right? So how can you do, right? First, you can look at. You have to measure two things in this while you want to send the campaigns to the users, right? First is like you have to find out users who have shown interest or have looked into the shoes as a category or as a product, right? Or the users who have made the purchase of the shoes, right? Or and those shoes should not be 500 or 200 rupees or 900 rupees. There has to be a premium shoes, right? So we can try to create a segment where an user is trying to view the shoes or adding the shoes to the cart, which has value of more than 2000, for example. Let's do that, right? Now you want to go back to categories, so brand only, right? And you can add more brand, right? You can add I think don't add brand, in fact go for categories, because category would give you more holistic view, right? And you want to talk about shoes, right? And you want to basically measure, create a segment which has a high intensity or who has an intent to buy products from premium brands, right? So let's see how many users we have who have added to cart shoes with total quantity of 1,000 rupees or more, right? I'm just checking whether do we have any users for that segment or not. I think we don't have. Added to cart in the last 30 days. Has something gone wrong? Total sum of the property. Okay, let me quickly change this to
Please
this.
increase
And
the price. Increase the price and then see.
sorry, come again.
I said increase
Oh,
the price from 1,000 rupees to 2,000 or 2,500.
it won't come. It won't come because there's at least value, right? Basically, what I'm saying, you can do that. So why it is not coming or giving you the users, because we don't have the data for it right now. As in, because it's giving you all these analysis and there's something wrong here. Total sum of property. Okay, I'm doing something wrong here. Let me try with price. Okay, now I think, yeah. Sometime these how do you define properties also matters, right? So let's say while I'm capturing product viewed kind of event, at that time I might be capturing amount by saying it price. Sometimes I might be capturing it by saying amount, right? Sorry. So you have to be a little bit more aware about how you're defining the event properties, right? So yeah, now I think we should get the users. Okay, so again, है ही नहीं कोई यूजर जिसने 1000 से ऊपर खरीदा है भाई, बहुत ही 4 segments created, those 7 users, right? But at least you got the sense of it, right? How to create these segments. Okay. Now let's do one quick exercise again. Now what we're going to do is, like, we're going to create a segment of inactive users, which means these are the users which were active on your platform last month, right? Which means who have opened the product open your product or app in the last 30 to 60 days, right? So now let's look at this segment wherein we can see that app launch. Okay. And in the last, it's not working. Okay. In the last 30 to 60 days, right? And who have opened app at least 5 times. So you have 57,000 users who have, and okay, and we also want to know they have not launched app this month. We also want to do that, right? We want to identify inactive users in this month, but they have been active in the previous last 30 to 60 day period, right? Did not do app launch in the last 30 days. Yes. Now we have 6,000 users who were active or at least launched the application in previous 30 to 60 days, but recently they have not done it, right? Now what I can do, I can also save this segment. Okay. Let's say I'm calling it inactive test. I don't think it will get saved because it's a demo account, but I'm just showing this is how we do it. In action is disabled for demo account, right? But this is how we do it. Now I'll quickly give you a quick walkthrough about campaigns because we've almost overshot the time. And probably in some other session or in the cohort session, we'll cover in much more depth, right? So there are multiple type of campaigns you can do in Clevertap. One is like, let's say, push notification, right? So you'd have a notification bar wherein Zomato is saying that, okay, apne chai piya kya? Have you had your snacks with dosa or whatnot, right? They keep giving these sweet or cute notifications, right? So these are something which is being paired with the functionality of push notification. In-app messages. So whenever you're opening the application, sometimes you're seeing the pop-up is coming wherein there's a cross button, right? So this is something which is called as in-app messages. Okay. App inbox. A lot of times you'll be seeing that there's an inbox option within your product which can be powered using these analytics tools. Native display is something which doesn't come over your existing screen. This is something which you can embed in your screen. Let's say you are on that Myntra page, right? Let me quickly give you a example so that you'll be able to better understand that. See, not here. Let's say you want to add a recommendation widget here, for example, right? So you can add a widget between this gap, right? And this is something which is can be accomplished with the help of a native display. Okay, of course, the SDK integration has to be done. You can also send SMS, email, WhatsApp, web inbox, a lot of things, right? For the purpose of this exercise, let's send one push notification, although it won't go because it's a demo account, right? Now, I want you guys to think and tell me, okay, yeah. We want to create a push notification campaign for the inactive users, right? So what type of message you would send them, right? Context is they were active last month, but this month they're not active. So what will you send them so that they will be happy to come back? How would you go about it? Think about it, right in the chat. Take 10 seconds. What would you give as a message in that notification bar? All right, anyone's writing? I think I'm anyway done with the session. I can quickly wrap it up. I'm just extending it for you
Yes,
guys.
I'm writing. Okay,
Okay.
I'm just saying it. So we can set a push notification saying, hey, valued user, we saw that you are active last 30 days, but now seems like you have not purchased with us.
If your message is too long, they would not hear it. They would not just quickly swipe up. Your message has to be, of course, that is something which is not be learning in this session. This is more of a marketing team's job to identify those, or copywriting team's job to identify or make those messaging to the point, right?
The short and sweet would be something new for you. Would you bother to click on us?
Let's say these are the users which were were viewing the product last 30 days, and now they are not looking into the product, right? We can say that still thinking about the shoes. We can send a reminder message, or we can also create a sense of urgency, like probably your shoes are going fast, right? Or we can also give them some kind of a promotional hook that, oh, extra 200, 500, 600 off for you, right? So you can do all those type of card
last minute
abandonment
offers kind of thing.
Licensement of depends. Like you want to send a reminder. There's a channel that we do it, right? So we learn it when we talk about it in much more detail. But I'm just covering it so that you guys understand. So okay. So now okay, I think I'll. So many of you might miss it. So I'll go back. I'm now creating a push notification, right? So how I'll go it? First, I have to select a goal, right? So I'm going to decide my qualification criteria to select the segment or based on the past behavior, basically what the users have done in the past. Depending on that, I'm going to do it, right? So I've clicked on this. What is a goal, right? With this post notification, what do you want to measure ultimately? Do you want to drive the sales? Of course, you want to do it. That's what the goal of e-commerce is like. So I've also defined the conversion event, which is charged event, right? And conversion time is something 5 days. So after sending the push notification, within 5 days, we are going to measure the impact of this event, right? You can also reduce it to 1 day as well. And property is this. Now, once you've decided kind of what all you want to do, right? Then you go and
Not
select the
seeing
user segment.
the clear tab screen.
Oh, my bad, my bad, my bad. My bad. Let me quickly go back and then again start because I don't want many of you to stay confused. Okay, so you go here in campaigns and you click on push notification, right? And here based on past behavior, you select because you want to send this campaign to the users who have not done something in past. Based on that, you're identifying them, right? So you've created that, and goal is something you decide as charge, which is a conversion tracking, and conversion time is basically after sending this notification within 5 days. When do you want to measure after clicking on this push notification how many users have actually ended up buying it, right? Now after setting the goal, then you decide who do you want to send to, right? Now by default it is selecting the all users, but I can create further sub segment, right? So let's say there's a custom list of champion users, new segment, first time users. Let's say I want to send to first time users, right? And it has now created a automatically defined what do you mean by first time, right? um, Okay, and here you can select all the channels that you want to send it to. If a user is on iOS, Android, or you want to send to the users who are only on iOS, you want to send to all devices, right? Or you want to send it to all active device or last active device per user, right? So this is how you're doing the user selection, right? And this is basically, I'm not going to cover now. This is basically which is more handy in terms of A/B testing, right? So A/B testing concept when we talk, if we talk about it, then we cover that, right? What is something that's interesting wherein you want to send a notification? So here you can create shoes, okay, and I can create good emojis. Let's say run, shoes is running fast. Okay, it's opposite direction, but yeah, still thinking about shoes. Okay, about okay, shoes, right? And then you or you give a rocket. I'm just trying to make it creative, which I am not able to. Yeah, bad attempt. I can also add subtitles, right? Hello, hi. So which basically is featuring here. If you want to, let's say, mention anyway brand name would come here, right? And the logo would come here. You can mention shoes here for it. More Nike you can mention, right? You can also automate this as well, right? Because for every campaign you can't keep on typing because there are so many users, right? So you can also kind of take this data from events as well. This is not working fully because it's a demo project, right? But let's say in subtitle you want to add the name of the user, right? So by default profile name would be captured from the profile. If the name is not there, then you have to give a default values. Default value we can say give hello. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I'm asking, like,
Later,
can we add?
No, Tanmay, this is not the way, right? Let me finish it. I'll come to this, please. Please don't interrupt. Okay, I think this is we have done, and if you want to basically curate any specific text for Android, then you can also do it, right? This is more of a general which will go everywhere, right? And now this is how it will be visible, and you can also add action buttons, right? You added a button, let's say buy now or rush now, or you can say that filling fast, something like that. I don't know. I'm not you. Of course, I'm assuming folks you're not judging me on these keywords, right? I'm just telling you all these things can be done, right? And where this filling fast keyword would take user to, so you have to give action ID, which would be equal to the event ID, right? And you can also give deep link or URLs. After clicking on this, you want users to be redirected to on a certain page, right? So there's a lot more things we can do on this platform, right? In the interest of time, we won't be able to cover everything. but I just wanted to at least give you a decent overview and walkthrough of the session. I would request all of you to please share your feedback. It would really mean a lot. Thank you, folks. Have a nice day and nice weekend. Bye bye.